Hey guys, it's Kevin Smart for Sense8, Season 1, Episode 10, What is Human? And wow guys, another amazing episode. Definitely up there with the best ones. Again, I really can't pick a favorite. This is one of those shows where I can't pick a favorite. I can't. There's just, the episodes are just better and better as they go on, that I can't pick a favorite. I really can't. This episode, though, was really incredible, because what I love about this episode is that I really got rid of all the human threats that are in their lives, like all the things that we're waiting for. So that way the last two episodes can basically just focus on the Sensates and why, taking down Wolfgang and all that kind of shit that we're setting up, and I really do love that. But this episode pretty much got rid of all the enemies that didn't have to do with, the Sensates and what's going on there, which I really love that they did that. But let's get into this episode. There's a lot to talk about, especially those last 10 minutes. Holy shit, awesome stuff. Let's just get into it. So, Wolfgang walks through the Holocaust Museum. He's struggling with a decision, and we know what, of course, that decision is. He's really trying to think about what his next step should be, because if you remember, his uncle said, get out, don't, get out of, get out of this business, stop robbing stuff, don't do anything you regret, and he's really trying to figure out, should he stay or should he go with Kala, and he catches fleeting glimpses of all of his fellow Sensates. By the way, this is the first episode, I think, where Nomi has, nothing to do, which I was fine with, because Nomi's had so much to do for, the past several episodes that she had, nothing to do in this one. So, basically, he catches fleeting glimpses of all his fellow Sensates walking through the stone site, and he catches a glimpse of Kala, and he stands in front of a slab with writing, and I thought that was a really great way to start the episode. And Will then reads the German writing and basically says, is the Holocaust an aberration or a reflection of who they really are? And Wolfgang asks Will why it's so loud where he is, and Will says that it's because it's Independence Day. And I like this scene because it really shows how different their cultures are and how different it is where they live. Because Wolfgang doesn't even know what that is. He says, what is best in life, referring to a quote he shares with Felix. And Will doesn't understand, and Wolfgang walks away saying he wouldn't understand. Because, it's a quote that only him and Felix would know. And I like how, in many ways, he is keeping that memory of Felix. That's something I definitely liked. But Will's been walking in a park, and he sees Jonas's face appear on a digital billboard, and they talk, and Jonas, you don't really know if you can trust Jonas in the scene, because if you remember, Yurza said point blank to Riley, don't trust Will. Will's the enemy. So I was really thinking that Jonas was going to try to get Will to join him, but no, that's not what he does. He actually warns Will, which I thought was really well done. He's still a prisoner alive, and he suggests that Will find a safe place to talk, and Sun is in prison. She's being visited by her lawyer. He delivers paperwork from his father, and I was really wondering what someone's going to do here. So if you remember, her father came up to her and, said that, look, your brother and I, we're going to testify, we're going to say the truth, and we're going to get you out of prison. I was really wondering if Sun was going to let this happen. And basically, he delivers paperwork from his father, who will give testimony that will lead to Sun's freedom, and he hands the pen for Sun to sign, and Sun asks what will happen to her brother, John Kai, and the lawyer says that the court will probably make an example of him, and he probably won't be in as much trouble as Sun thinks. And as Sun holds the pen, she returns to wandering the Holocaust Museum with Wolfgang, and Sun says that she wants to believe that the past is done with them the moment they're done with it, and she signs the document, and hopefully that goes well for her. So I thought that was a really great scene. Sun's now out of prison, she's now gotten that off of her, and I definitely thought that was very good. So Wolfgang's sitting over Felix, Steiner enters with his cronies, and I'm like, oh shit, not Steiner, because you knew that Wolfgang was going to get his revenge on Steiner, you just knew, and Wolfgang stands in anger. He wants nothing to do with Steiner right now, obviously, and Steiner says that he has close friends in the hospital and suggests that something could easily go wrong for Felix, and Wolfgang tells him that he'll get his diamonds back and he'll give Wolfgang and Felix a pass, and Steiner agrees. So I thought that was a pretty good deal. So in a museum, Will and Jonas talk about having multiple allegiances, and Will asks if Sensates are human, and that's when we get to the title of the episode, because Jonas asks, what is human? And he says that Sensates are more human because of their increased empathy, and I do agree. I mean, most of the Sensates are very compassionate people, they're very nice people, they're not... I mean, the only one that's really, dark is Wolfgang, but even he, has a reason for doing that, so... I definitely thought, I agree with what Jonas said there. So, Kala waits in the hospital with her father, and she says for some time she has been thinking about the wedding. She tells him the truth of why Papa Jai met her at the temple, that he was reconsidering the marriage, and Kala has not yet told Rajan. She doesn't plan on this, and Kala's father suggests that she tell Rajan, and I thought this was interesting. He said that she should tell Rajan because it may be Papa Jai's last wish, and Kala's father admits that's a very hard decision, and that he doesn't expect her to make the decision right now. So Kala's really got her hands tied right now. Should she make this decision and tell Rajan, or should she just leave it alone and marry him? I mean, I'm really not sure what Kala wants to do. We'll have to see, but that definitely is going to be very interesting. So Jonas says that he was once in Will's place where the father of his cluster was telling bullshit about Sicilium and what meant to be a Sense8, and Jonas says that the Sensates are biologically extremely similar to humans, which, I mean, yeah, that's true. They pretty much go through the same things that humans do. I definitely agree with that. So Cavius is watching Lionheart, which of course is a movie by Jean-Claude Van Damme. And him and Kala have their first real interactions episode, which I definitely really love, because he's visited by Kala, and she introduces herself, and she sits on his couch. She observes he has a very large TV, and asks why people in the slums buy large TV. And I agree with Kavia says, that kind of takes you out of the slums of reality, it's kind of like your escape from reality. Like, I do agree, that's one of the reasons why people watch TV, because it escapes them from reality. I definitely agree with what he said with that. So Wolfgang returns home, takes a gun and ice cubes out of the refrigerator, and we don't know what he plans on doing with this, but you can tell he's going to do something that's badass, and he microwaves the ice and strains the water, revealing the diamonds. So he has the diamonds. So the question is, since he has the diamonds, then what is he going to do to Steiner? You're not really sure, and that scene was pretty awesome. So Kala says that the movie is violent, and Capheus says that life is violent, and that's true. Life does have a lot of violence, evidenced by their life. Capheus Kala did not used to think that life was violence, but now she does, and Jonas points out that a flock of birds or a mushroom in a forest can communicate by groups. He says that Sensates were probably around during the time of early humans. And this I thought was really interesting, because again, I was waiting for Jonas to bring this up, and he does, and he actually tells Will to stay the hell away from Whispers. He says that Whispers will try to use him to get to Will and the rest of his cluster, and Will realizes that the reason Angelica committed suicide was to protect the cluster. That's why she did it, and I thought that was very interesting that we found that out. So I like that Jonas basically said that, look, stay away from me. I'm gonna try to lure you to Whispers, and I thought that was definitely very interesting. So I definitely really like that. So you see that you can trust Jonas, but he knows that Whisper is going to try to get him to join his side, which I thought was interesting. So Wolfgang pulls up to the meeting spot in his BMW, taking the bag of diamonds. He exits the car. There are two cars full of Steiner and his men, and then Jonas explains that since humans are emotionally disconnected from each other, it has made their species the most successful killers ever. And then we get to this badass scene. This was fucking awesome. I love this, because basically, Steiner says they search Wolfgang for weapons and find none. Steiner says to search him again. They find the bag of diamonds. Steiner asks how he opened the safe, and Wolfgang says he cracked it. Steiner punches him in the gut, kicks him several times, because Steiner just realized that he was completely screwed over, and he was completely screwed over, and he's pissed about it, obviously. And Steiner says that he doesn't believe him. Wolfgang crawls slowly to his car. Steiner pulls a gun in his head and says, asks, "Do you think I'm stupid?" Steiner prepares to pull the trigger. He's just gonna kill him at this point. And Wolfgang stops crawling, eyes a gun stashed under his car, out of reach, and basically out of reach. And that was pretty insane when we saw that. So, Lito's then lying in his bathtub, and you can tell that Lito is still in this very bad depression and everything. He becomes aware of the situation, and Wolfgang and Lito analyze Wolfgang's body from a distance. Lito is impressed that Wolfgang predicted the situation so well, and Wolfgang says all he needed was a little space, and Lito tells him to keep talking. Wolfgang says that he cannot, and Lito asks, and he says he can't do it because he thinks of Steiner. Steiner reminds him of his father, which I thought was really interesting. I mean, that's the thing with Wolfgang. Think about it. Wolfgang never actually took down his father. That was all Felix did that, and he could never face his father, just like he could never face Steiner. And even though Wolfgang is a badass, he can, I like that he does have those fears, and that's something I think is really good. These characters are very layered, and that's something I love in shows, are layered characters. And Leto asks if he can do it. So Leto takes Wolfgang's body. He tells Steiner a story of how Felix got the combination by sucking the cock of the Indian, and Steiner loves it. He's just thinking that Felix is gay and everything, and he's basically making fun of Felix. And he walks back to his cronies. They laugh together. Wolfgang then takes the opportunity to get the gun, taking out a few of Steiner's men before reaching cover behind his car. This is such a badass scene. Honestly, this was awesome. Wolfgang opens his truck, revealing a rocket launcher. A rocket launcher! Yes, he made a rocket launcher out of all that shit. That was awesome when he pulled out that rocket launcher. I'm like, yes, rocket launcher. That's awesome. So he aims it and fires, obliterating Steiner's car in a giant fireball, and basically, he doesn't have to worry about him anymore. He doesn't have to worry about, he doesn't really have to worry about Steiner at all, which I thought that scene was pretty awesome. I definitely really love that. The fact that he just took out Steiner with that rocket launcher, that was awesome. I really did love that, guys. Honestly, I love that scene. I know some people don't like how they just started using action randomly in this show, but I thought it was pretty awesome. I definitely really enjoyed that, I have to say. So, that scene was awesome. I really loved it. Leto's cheering. He's very happy that Wolfgang just did that all by himself, and Leto says that lying is what he does, and Wolfgang says that when he makes a mistake, and I like what Wolfgang says to him, he says, when you make a mistake, you live with it or you fix it, and that's the thing. Leto, he really is helping out Leto, because Leto at this point just feels like he needs to live with it, but now Leo's thinking, you know what, I'm gonna fix it, and you know what that gets him to do? He calls Hernando and tells him he's gonna fix things, and I love that scene because Wolfgang really helped him out with telling him, look, you can fix this, you don't have to let all this happen. Now, I thought what Leto was gonna do was basically just go to, like, the public and tell everyone that he's gay. That's what I thought he was gonna do, and, jeopardize his career and things like that. Because, definitely Hernando's more important to him than that. And I was wondering if he was going to do that. But that's not what he does. We'll get to what he does. But basically, Riley's in the lobby of a concert hall waiting to see her father. And, Will says he's going to see his father as well, and I love this scene between Will and Riley, honestly. I know a lot of people don't like Will and Riley in a relationship. I really do. I think they're really good together. I honestly really like them. And Will tells Riley that it's dangerous for her to be in Iceland, and, basically, Riley thanks Will because without him, she wouldn't be there, and I thought that was a really sweet scene. And they end up, now of course, Will knows the danger that Riley's in, and we know that Riley definitely is going to be in danger because, again, Kathy has told her episodes ago that, oh, you're going to be in danger. And basically, they end up kissing, and they basically, I really liked that scene, thought that was really good. They basically end up kissing, and that's what ends up happening. So, Leto then returns to the bar. He drinks 6 tequila shots, basically, I thought, to, like, pump himself up for what was going to happen, and he tells the bartender that he made a mistake, grabs the bartender, they kiss, and Leto missed the bartender's offer, was well received, but Leto says that his heart belongs to another, and Leto leaves, and that was badass right there when he just, like, kissed that guy, and he's like, nope, sorry, I'm going to Hernando. That was pretty awesome when he did that. So, really love that. Riley meets up with her father and his friends outside the concert hall. They are smoking pot, and Riley offers them ecstasy, and they accept. Will then arrives at his father's boat when he has the grill ready, and basically they reunite, and I thought that was really good. And then we get to what was by far one of my favorite parts of the episode. Leo drives his car into Joaquin's garden. Now, again, I didn't think this was what he was going to do, but this is what he does. He goes right into Joaquin's garden, and he demands that Daniela come home with him. And I love what he does here, because Joaquin threatens to release the pictures of Leto and Hernando. And, he asked Daniela, who do you really want to be with, me or Leto? And she chooses Leto. Obviously, she chooses Leto. And, Joaquin's telling him, oh, I'm going to release the pictures, and he says he doesn't care if you release the pictures at this point, because that's now what's important to him. He realizes that he can just move on from that. So Joaquin stops Daniela from leaving. He delivers a punch at Leto's throat. Leto tries to fight back, but barely gets a punch in, and Joaquin's just too big for him. He can't fight him. He throws flower pots at Joaquin, and Joaquin knocks him to the ground, begins to leave with Daniela. Daniela does do some really cool damage, though. She gets, like, a shovel and, like, hits it on his back. It was pretty awesome when she did that. Like, I didn't think Daniela was that tough, but wow, you get her pissed off, she's, like, a badass. That was pretty awesome. So, because of what Leto did for Wolfgang, Wolfgang's gonna do the same for Leto, kind of like I do, I do you a favor, I do you a service, you do me a service, I do you a service, that kind of thing. Wolfgang appears and helps Leto to his feet. Wolfgang then tells Joaquin they're not done. Wolfgang then takes a punch without flinching, then delivers a series of blows before finally knocking out Joaquin with an uppercut. I'm pretty sure he makes him, lose his tooth. It was pretty awesome. He punches him and then, his tooth falls out. It was really cool. And, Wolfgang basically says that fighting is what he does, and I like that because that really is parallel to what Leto said when he said to him that, lying's what I do, he said fighting's what I do, and I thought that was really cool. I love that scene, and I love seeing Leo and Wolfgang help out each other. That was something I thought was really awesome. So Riley sits in her seat at the concert house, and Will and his father basically start talking about how, and I love this scene with Will's father, because he talks about how his father, when he told him he wanted to be a cop, he was ashamed of it, he wasn't happy, he didn't think it was a good thing for his son, he didn't really want it. However, when Will said he wanted to be a cop, he was overjoyed, he was very happy that he chose that path, and it was just a really sweet scene. It shows how far these two have come, and you really love their relationship. I definitely really love that. I thought that was really great. So, Will and his father watch the fireworks explode above them. Nomi's in bed having sex with Anita, literally the only thing she does in this episode, which I was fine with. Sun and Kathy, now, it's understandable why, because obviously she and Amanita have been through a lot, and they just kind of want to be together right now, which I'm fine that really nothing happened to her, because she's just trying to, move on from the damage that's happened, because, let's face it, Nomi's been through shit all season, so I'm fine that Nomi didn't have a lot in this episode. So Sun and Kathy join Will to watch the fireworks. Leto then goes to Hernando's apartment, and his face is covered in bruises, and Leto tells Hernando that he was right, and that Leto made a terrible mistake, and he then says that he fixed it, and, Hernando's like, how'd you do it? And then Daniela appears, and it's this great reunion. I love this reunion between them, and he talks about how his career, and, he asks about the pictures and what's going to happen with that, and he says his career is important to him, but he knows it will never be as important to him as Hernando. And Leto and Hernando kiss, and in the moment Daniela takes pictures, and Hernando's just like, really? That's what you're gonna do? Because that's what got them into this anyway. I thought that was really funny. So the three of them go home together, and I love that. I love seeing Daniela take the pictures, and, the three of them back together in their little reunion. Really sweet, and really, I thought was a good ending to, their plot, basically, because let's just face it, we're probably not going to see Hernando and Daniela that much more this season, definitely, especially where as this episode ends, definitely not. The way this episode ends, though, is truly fantastic, and you could only do this on a show like Sense8. You really couldn't do this on another show, and I love the way they did this, because at the concert hall, the performance starts. Riley's father dances his fingers across the piano keys. Riley begins to feel something coming over her. She doesn't know what it is. Will, Kala, Sun, and Leto, Nomi, Wolfgang, and Cavius each appear to be watching the show as well. And then we realize that each of the Sense8s have a flashback to their own birth. It's really cool because, and let me tell you guys, these were real-life birth scenes. Like, the Wachowskis filmed real-life birth scenes just for this scene. It was pretty awesome. Riley remembers her father playing the piano into a phone as her mother listens and labors. Will remembers his... And the thing I love about the scene is you start to see why these characters are the way they are, and sort of like how they develop their personalities from where they were born. I thought that was really cool. Will remembers his birth in the back of a police car, probably why he was a police officer. Kala remembers her birth on a rainy day next to a statue of Ganesha, and that's probably why she has that connection to Ganesha and why she's so obsessed with her, probably because of that. Leto remembers his birth where his extended family is all in the same room watching television, probably why he got into telenovelas. Sun remembers her mother visiting a graveyard and falling to the ground in labor, delivering Sun next to the graves. Probably why she is so close to her mother and why she felt like she caused her mother's death. Nomi remembers, now, Nomi's the only one who's not happy. All the others are happy. Nomi's not, because her mother was sedated in the hospital, delivered by C-section, and it's understandable why Nomi's not happy. She's not happy because she was born as a boy, and she didn't want to be one. She wanted to be a woman, and that's why, because she wasn't born the way she wanted to be, and I thought that was a really great scene. So Wolfgang remembers his mother delivering in a birth pool. That's probably why Wolfgang loves to hang out by the pool so much. And then Caithius remembers his mother with a doula delivering him in a hut, and that's why they're kind of like poor. And I just really love that because it shows why they are the way they are, and I thought that was very well done. So each of them is immensely happy, as I said, the exception of Nomi, who's pained. And Riley then remembers another birth, which is the birth of her own child, and in the memory, Riley's crying. She's injured in a freezing overturned car. She remembers the car crashing into a snowbank, and basically, back in the present, this blood just starts to pour down her nose, and she faints, and basically that impending doom that everyone's been talking about finally happened to her. We don't know where she's going, but Riley faints, and that's how the episode ends. And I thought that was the perfect way to end this episode. I mean, those last 10 minutes were just so fascinating the way they did it. And then Riley fainting. I mean, you knew something was going to happen in this scene. When Will said, "You're not safe in Iceland," you knew something was going to happen. And I love the way they handled that. These last 2 episodes are going to be absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to see what happens in these last 2 episodes. There is a lot to talk about, though. Daniela, Hernando, and Lito, I like that they did make amends. I thought that was really sweet, the way that they all made amends. I definitely really enjoyed that, I have to say. Riley and Will, though, they definitely are getting closer. I'm kind of thinking that Will and Riley, they are going to get to be together. I like that Jonas, though, told Will that, look, Whispers is going to try to get me to get you to work for us, and I'm wondering what's going to happen with that. You know, is Jonas going to come up to Will and say, hey, do you want to work with us? That definitely is something I'm interested in, seeing what's going to happen between Jonas, Will, and Whispers. I'm definitely interested in seeing what's going to happen with that. Wolfgang, I definitely feel like now he's going to India. I mean, he did what he had to do with Steiner. Go to India. Get the hell out of there. Because obviously his uncle said you're not safe, so get the hell out of there. And I think he's definitely going to head to India, which I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what ends up happening with that. Will, I kind of feel like he's going to try to get his position back because his father's so happy with him being a cop. I honestly feel like that's probably what he's going to do, and we'll have to see what ends up happening with that. I hope things work out well for Sun. I really do, because obviously Sun wanted her family to be happy. She doesn't want her brother in trouble, so I hope for her sake things do work out for her. I hope things work out there. We'll have to see what ends up happening with that. Kala, is she going to tell Rajan, is she going to tell Rajan about her, not about how Papa Jai said he didn't want her to marry Rajan? Or is she going to tell Rajan, or is she just not going to, marry Rajan and not going to let it happen? We'll have to see what happens with that. It definitely is going to be interesting, I think. I think that definitely is going to be interesting. Nomi, as I said, had nothing to do in this episode, which I honestly was fine with. Cavius as well really had nothing to do except for that scene with Kala, which I definitely really like that. It's showing that I definitely feel Kala is doing stuff. But this episode was really, setup. It really was. I mean, there's not really much else to say about it because it's really just set up for what's going to happen. What happened to Riley? I don't know. I definitely feel like Whispers took her or something. Something happened. She definitely is unconscious, and they're going to have to save her, and I'm pretty sure these last 2 episodes are going to be let's rescue Riley, and that's going to be awesome to see how that works out. I can't wait to see what ends up happening in the next episode. It's going to be awesome. I know it's going to be awesome. I mean, this show has never let me down, and I don't think it's just going to randomly start letting me down now. That's not going to happen. That's just not something that I think is going to happen. We'll have to see what ends up happening with that, but I can't wait to see how that all plays out with Riley. Just the way they did that birth scene, though, I really do want to talk about it. Cinematography, by the way, was gorgeous in that scene, and the score they played as well, I really did love. Really worked perfectly with the scene. It was something you could never really show on TV unless it was on Sense8. That's just something you can never show, and I think it was very well done, and I definitely really enjoyed that. But that's basically my review. Hope you enjoyed it. I know this was a shorter review, but that's because this episode was mainly just setup and closure of things we've seen for their human struggles, and now we can really focus on them rescuing Riley, seeing how that turns out. That's going to be awesome to watch. I can't wait to see how that all plays out in the end. We have 2 episodes left, and I'm as upset as you guys are, but that's basically my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Overall, guys, this definitely was one of the best episodes by far. Again, it's really hard to pick a favorite with this show. Just every episode is just so good that it's so hard to pick a favorite. But this is definitely really high up there with my favorites. I really did love it. But that's basically my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in my next video, which will be for episode 11 of Sense8, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.